Welcome back everyone to our gameplay series here on the Lone Oak Farm map in Farming Simulator 17. So in our very first video we got started, talked a little bit about what this series was going to be and what some of our goals were that we hope to accomplish, and hopefully I am up to the task with some course play skills that will allow us to achieve at least as many of those as we possibly can on this particular map, because as I mentioned, this map does present some challenges. There are some very tight spaces that we're going to have to maneuver, probably with multiple pieces of machinery. So that's going to be a delicate balance and really just a dance of equipment that hopefully we can get taken care of. So we're going to take a look at some of the work that we did yesterday, but first we need to get busy working on field 35, which is right out in front of us. So what I'm going to do is have again, for right now, we're going to stick with the basic crops. So we're going to continue with wheat right now. And let's see, let's get our guy right over about here. That should be perfectly fine. And we need to generate a course. So we need to make sure he's on fertilizing. Let's go to course 35. 9 meters is perfectly fine. Use the current position. And we want him to do... let's see, go ahead and do 4. So again, this will be the only time we're going to use this particular course, because just as what we did with field 44 as well as 45, which I'll show you again in a few minutes, we're going to be rolling a full 12 meters out of this field all the way around just to give ourselves a little extra working room. So right now, these 4 headlands should work out very nicely in our favor. Yeah, that looks good. I like the way that works. But again, this is only going to be a temporary course. And let's actually have this guy, let's see, start it at next point. That is perfectly fine with me. Let's go ahead and have him drive that again. We're trying to give ourselves as much room as we possibly can. I would rather take away a little bit too much from the fields than not take enough away from the fields and not leave ourselves enough room. So you can see, by default, let's go ahead and get rid of that. By default, we don't leave ourselves very much room between the road and the field, which is fine under normal conditions. But again, with what we're trying to do in this series, we need a little bit more room just to have some wiggle room and sort of a safety valve, if you will, to make sure we've got plenty of extra area. So we're going to be getting rid of a good bit of the field, but we're not worried about the yields. Also, it will give us some more room here on this particular area. If I bring back the mouse, the area I'm talking about is this road right here, which we'll be using to get back onto the farm areas located around the silo, either whether it's to unload our tippers or to load up the tractor trailer rig for the selling of our goods. But you can see by default we take the field all the way to the edge of this road. Okay, so let's let this guy get on about his business, and now we're going to come over to field 45, and this is where I've got the roller sitting right now. And this is the first thing I wanted to show you guys. So if you remember, when we were looking at this field by default, the edge of the field comes right over very close to these fence posts. Now the fence itself, the barbed wire fence, you can walk right through it. It does not have collision on it, but the posts do have collision, and it is very easy for things to get stuck on it, such as our combine. So I've created quite a bit of extra room here, but I wanted to do one more step. And if I back away a little bit, you can see we're here on this corner of the field, and what I want to do is just square this corner off, and my plan is to use this area over here as sort of a parking area for some of our equipment that might be working on this field or on field 44. So I think I've got him lined up, and it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, with me doing it, it will not be perfect for sure. So what we're going to do is actually lower this down. Let's scroll in a little bit. And you can see we're just going to erase this field and try to square it off as best we can. But like I said, it's not going to be perfect, nor does it need to be. Okay, also as we scroll over, keep in mind, the field used to be along here, it used to be right over to the edge, and now we've got plenty of extra working room, and now we've got ourselves quite a wide area to work with on the road side of things. All right, so let's go ahead and get this guy lined back up. In fact, we'll get rid of that. So as well as taking care of these, the plan for today is to take care of all of this finishing type of work that we need to get ready in anticipation for our first harvest. Okay, that'll be good enough for right now. I'll come back off camera and I will finish up this last little bit over here. And in fact, we have a little bit of time later on. I might come back over and do it on camera. But what this is going to do is it's going to shorten up this field a little bit. But we're going to make some other alterations to this particular field because long term, this field is just not very course play friendly. In fact, if we bring up our map, we're looking at field 45. So you can see the part that we're actually cutting off isn't very much. But what I'm also planning on doing is cutting it off right here and only having this portion that we work for now. Later on, if we want to come back and turn this into a second field, then we can do so. But for right now, again, we're trying to keep things simple. And the reason for doing this is that course play, whenever you're emptying combines particularly, they go in straight lines whenever you're looking to unload. And this area in particular, right over here, causes a great deal of issues because it does not have a direct line of sight with any other corner over on this side of the field. And so what happens is no matter where you put an unload, whether it be a tipper or however you're planning on doing it with an auger wagon or whatever, they're going to try to eventually go right through these trees, which of course is going to cause us a lot of trouble. So we're going to try to eliminate that. And in the interest of my sanity, I'm going to try to help out with taking care of some of these issues. Now, obviously, if we're going to be doing any sort of harvesting, we're going to need a combine. And right now, we don't have one. Again, I sold off, there are 2 combines that they give you at the start of the game. I sold those off because I wanted to set up our own starting conditions, even if they might be pretty similar. So let's take a look at the combine that we're going to need. And we're running low on money. You can see our money going down now as our worker is using seeds and fertilizer over on field 35. So let's go in under the harvesters and we're going to take a look at, after thinking about this, I had originally thought that I was going to be going for one of these bigger models, but the more I got to thinking about it here at the beginning, I just don't see that those are going to be worth it for us because they're basically twice the amount of money. Now, granted, they have a much larger working width, a larger capacity, that sort of thing. But I think overall, this is going to be sufficient. And then we will simply build out from here. And who knows, later on, if we are awash with cash, then we can always come back and replace these. So I think we're going to go with the Activa 7347S. So a little over $200,000. And let's go ahead and select that one. We're going to go ahead. I tell you what, let's don't buy this right just yet. Because what I need to do is, before I get carried away, we need to head up here to the store. Because there's one other thing, other than getting a much cheaper price by doing this, one of the things we're going to do is, okay, there we go. Now let's do, so the 202,000, which will actually be our price now. All right, let's go ahead and purchase that. So the 7347, you can see it spawn in right over here next to us. And now we need to come back out and get the approved header for it. And I believe it is this one, the Free Flow 25 foot. So that should be pretty good. 7.6 meter working width. That'll be perfectly fine for us, particularly in some of the tighter radius areas that we have. Once we get into, let's go ahead and get this purchased. So we're going to have enough money without having to borrow any additional money for this, and let's actually, I'm interested to see how does it do that. Okay, we're going to have to actually drive this thing home with this big old header on it, because we're not going to have a trailer to put that on. Okay, that's fine. We can certainly do that. I wasn't sure if this particular header was going to come with a trailer or not. Let's see if we can work. This is one of the things that is a little bit iffy about this particular map, is that they don't give you a whole lot of room at the store. All right, come on. Let's get this thing lined up so we can get on out of here. All right, that should be pretty good. There we go. All right, so it is definitely too wide to get down the street with the AI doing this. So, and yes, we could always send it straight back through a reset and get it back to the farm. But for right now, I'm going to try to just drive it. And you can see we're going to block this entire road. So hopefully we don't get any traffic. If we do, I'll simply have to turn the traffic off. As we were talking about the traffic issues, in fact, here comes... let's see if I can actually manage... I don't think that... Oh, nope, that is collidable. Okay, great. All right, and this guy, of course, is going to... Yeah, we're going to go ahead and just turn this off for right now. This is one of the issues with having traffic on, because other than purchasing a trailer so that we can tow this thing behind us, there's really not a good way of getting these things back to the farm. Also, these things are extremely wide on their own. So we're going to get this guy back to the farm itself. And in the future, we will probably just go ahead and reset this so that we don't have to deal with this. But the traffic, I mentioned that we were going to keep it on as long as we could. And I do plan to turn it back on after we get through this section here. But one of the issues I already had is, as soon as we were done filming our first episode, I had an issue where on this particular area of road, as we're getting ready to turn left up here ahead, we already had our first trouble, and that is when we have to turn left across traffic. Well, our tractor trailer rig just did not have enough time, and with Courseplay, it doesn't recognize other vehicles as well as you might like. One of the few things that Courseplay doesn't have pretty well ironed out. And so there was an issue there, and of course now this is going to be really tight getting up through here, because this is already a narrow stretch. You can see just how narrow this is. And if this header were any bigger, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be able to get up through here. All right, let's hope that we can get through here. I'm hoping nothing on the right-hand side over there is collidable. Right up into that big tree, which I think we're going to miss. So yeah, there's no way we could have had the AI bring this back. We would have had to reset it back to the farm and take the easier route. Okay, well, we made it past that, and I think we're home free. I think this road is plenty wide enough for us to do what we need to do at this point forward. Okay, so we're in good shape now, and we'll head on back. In the meantime, thankfully, we've got our guy working on field 35. But as we get into some of these fields that are they're more square, and they really don't have anything around them. You know, right now we're at the starting field, so we've got the various farm buildings and the house to deal with, as well as field 45, which has all sorts of issues to deal with. But once we get out, like you see over here on the right-hand side, I mean, some of these fields really don't have a lot to contend with. There is plenty of open space in and around those, so we're going to be in much better shape when it comes to that. All right, so we've almost made it back. In fact, we're going to go ahead and park this guy over here by field 45, since that is the first field that we'll actually be harvesting. So far, so good. We're moving right along and getting all of the setup type things. There's a lot of things you need to do whenever you're setting up a new, fresh game start. And in this case, we've definitely got some things. Now, this also gives us a chance. You can see just how much room, well, if I can stay off the field. See how much room, see we've opened up a nice road, a secondary road here. in this area, and this is a beautiful thing. All right, let's go ahead and drop this guy off right here. But you can see as we come over, this was the edge of the field. So we've opened up all this additional area to move around, to park, all of those types of things. All right, so we've managed to get our combine. There's one more piece of equipment that we need to get. Let's go ahead and get our roller lined up. Okay, and that one more piece of equipment we're going to need is a tipper. Now we've got something we could use as a tipper, but I want to get more of a long-term solution, and I'm hoping we can get it for less than $45,000, since that is where we currently are. So I have this guy. He is set up on a route that will take him to the store, and then we're going to try to bring back that equipment. Now let's go ahead and turn the traffic back on before I forget about it. So this guy, you can see we're starting him out right here. So we'll get him started. He'll head over here to where we just were at the store, and once he's there, he'll stop. We'll purchase our tipper. Hopefully we'll have enough money to get what I'm looking for. I think we will. And then he'll simply bring it back. All right, let's go with the next closest. And there he goes. So he'll take off and he'll do that. I want to make sure that I activate this. I'm bad about forgetting to do that, and I'm sure on many occasions during this series I'm going to do just that. I'm going to forget to activate this, and it's going to cause all sorts of headaches and troubles. Now our tractor trailer rig doesn't have anything to do right now because we've already sold all of our beginning crops. Our silo is empty. Again, taking care of these beginning tasks that you just have to deal with at the beginning of a start game. So I wanted to show these tasks to you so you guys could know exactly what I'm doing. I didn't want any confusion about whether or not the equipment that you're seeing is the starting equipment and how did the field start. I wanted you guys to see all of that, as well as all of the modifications that we're making along the way to make this map fit what we need it to fit. So this guy is moving right along, doing a great job. There's something about the look of the fields in this game once they have been sown that I really like. There's a beautiful look to it, particularly on this map. So you can see the headlands over there. We'll hopefully clean that up a little bit going forward. We won't use quite so many headlands and have those issues around the edges. Thankfully, Courseplay has addressed that with the combines, giving you some new turn types, but with the other equipment, as far as I know, it is not available. But yeah, again, you can see just how close he is to the edge of this building over here. That is way too close for my comfort zone. Okay, let's head back over, actually, and let's take care of a little bit more than that. And we'll keep an eye out for the bottom left-hand corner just above the mini-map for when we get notification that our tractor has made it to the store, and then we'll hop over to the store and hopefully purchase the tipper we need. We won't need a huge tipper because we're going to be using this tipper, or at least the plan is to use this tipper to unload and then go back to the silo, make a complete path, and then come back around. We'll see if that's what we decide to continue doing, or if maybe we want to take a different path, maybe using the auger wagon in the future. But for now, we'll start off using the basic tipper. Alright, so again, I think this is going to be a useful area for us just to use as some extra place to store a combine, or maybe some extra tractors or fertilizers or whatnot as we go forward in the game that we might not be using at this particular time. There's plenty of storage inside the buildings that they give you on the farm, but I'm not a big fan of using that storage inside. I like to see the tractors outside. I know in real life that wouldn't be the best idea, but hey, this is a game and we're going to enjoy it for what it is. Alright, looks like our tractor has made it. Let's go ahead and hop over there. And let's go ahead and stop him. We're going to hop out. And let's come over. So, The first thing we want to do once we get in here, let's go back to our harvester that we picked up. And let's see. Oh, there it is right there. It's already still checked. So 8,600 liters is his capacity. So as long as we have something with at least that, then we're going to be perfectly fine. So we don't need a huge tipper. So let's go see what we can get. And matter of fact, the most basic one will almost get us there. We're not going to quite do that, but we're going to go ahead with this 15,000 liter. That should be good. I actually didn't think it had quite that much capacity, so I'm pleasantly surprised. And of course, the best news of all is that 19,000. That is pretty awesome. So this would be a great one to get us started. Again, these are very inexpensive. And so if we move up to the next one that I would be interested in, the AgroLiner has 21,000 capacity. So for right now, I think this Farm Tech is going to do just fine. The wheel setup, I'm going to go with the wide tires because I love that look. So 19,400, we will take it. So we got through with, I believe, all the equipment we need without having to purchase any additional. So let's head back into our tractor. And again, not a whole lot of room here to maneuver, so we're going to try to catch this one from the side and see if we can attach it like that. All right, there we go. Now we already have a course set up to get us back to the farm, so let's pull that up and let's see. How do we want to do this? Let's go ahead and use this one. Yeah, that'll take us a more direct route back instead of going the long way around. Okay, I like that one. And we'll go ahead and start him at the next available waypoint, which in this case happens to be the first one. And we're going to have him stop whenever he gets back to the property. All right, let's check back in and see how we're doing here. Oh, excellent. We've only got, what, maybe three to four more passes here and we'll be done. And we'll have this field exactly where it needs to be for our very first harvest. Okay, good. Let's come back into our map. And we can see under the growth stages, we are, of course, just getting done with the sowing phase for fields 35 and 44. But if you look at field 45, you can see it's a few stages ahead. And for our purposes right now, we don't have to worry about any more fertilization. But in the future, we're probably going to turn that up to at least 2, if not the full 3 fertilizations for maximum yield. But for now, we're going to keep that pretty simple. Everything looking good. You can see there's a few other fields scattered around the map that are growing some wheat right now. Who knows, we might end up doing a few missions along the way. Okay, this guy, let's see, while we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and continue on. So everything is underway, all the work is getting done. So again, right now we're trying to finish up the initial work to get our gameplay started. We got to get our fields ready to go, particularly since we started off with 2 grass fields, and that's not really where we want to begin, even though we might come back to that. All right, so let's get this last little bit taken care of. Let's go ahead and take care of this real quick. We'll roll back over this last little bit. Okay, that should be it. Now, let's head over and let's see what we've got here. So we've got this part here, and again, you can see there is lots of room now that should keep us out of any trouble, but if we have any trouble, we can always make some further adjustments. That's certainly not a problem. All right, so whenever we do our first harvest, we'll go ahead and we'll harvest all of this field, but what I want to do is probably going to be cut it off right about here. And then we'll just simply head straight up the hill here, and that will sort of square off this field at least as best as we can for now. And then in the future, we can come back to that portion. But for this first round, we're actually going to leave it as is, and we'll just sort of work our way around the fact that it is a very odd shape and is going to cause us some issues for the time being. This is one of the weirder shaped fields that I've ever seen on a map. The way it has a weird horseshoe shape to it, and again, the AI just really does not like that type of a shape. Okay, we'll bring this guy back over. We'll park him there just in time to see our new equipment has made it. So we'll go ahead and stop that, get rid of that. So we're good there. And how about that? Perfect timing. So we get done. All right, so you can see the Optum CVX has finished work. So everything came out perfect. You can see, of course, we got those small issues with the headland corners, but if we take a quick look at the map, you can see we have all three of our starting fields are now sown. We are growing wheat, at least for now. And when we come back next time, it's going to be time for our first harvest here on field 45. So that's going to do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we continue our gameplay series here on Lone Oak Farm.